Either way, we'll see what happens towards the end of PCS2, and I think PCS3 is going to be the real, I guess, benchmark for the success of the roster.
We can look at it as a similar scenario to like MPL, right? MPL Phase 1 was a little bit of an anomaly. You know, there were some teams that kind of scraped through the preseason and got into Phase 1, and then Phase 2 kind of leveled out a little bit, and then Phase 3 was kind of where things really kicked up, right? I guess in terms of North America was like the highest level of competition.
Yeah.
So I imagine we're going to see a similar thing develop, and PCS3 is going to kind of be, you know, we thin out the weeds, so to say, and that will be the hardest. And as well, in terms of you know the actual gameplay, you know, things are going to be ironed out. People aren't going to be messing about with contesting early on. Not going to see too many like random anomalies throughout the season where, you know, teams start clashing just because, you know, some teams aren't scrimming, and it comes as a surprise when we get to these comp games on the weekend. But these guys take this compound in Circle 1 on West Circles and things like that. So I do think PCS3 is going to be kind of the real benchmark, but I mean, it's still hard now outside of 3 or 4 teams to really pick, you know, the go-to teams, considering how much variety there's been.
Yeah, and even those 3 or 4 teams sort of give you a little bit of doubt from time to time. It was supposed to be the triple crown of Oath, Sonics, and STK PCS1, and well, two of those 3 didn't show up in the manner that everyone properly expected them to. And then coming to PCS2, Sonics and Oath, who were a little quieter compared to last season, come up in full force, and it's STK's turn to sort of slip. STK, of course, still climbing up, and we're halfway through the grand finals here, so it's not, of course, the most apt of comparisons. But we have yet to have that tempo storm of 2020. That team that is, without a doubt, going to be at the top of the regional leaderboards. This is not even looking at international competition because, thank you, 2020. But at least in the regional leaderboards, we have yet to have that one team that is like the team.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll come right out and say it. I think the closest we've got to tempo storm in NA right now is shoot to kill. I kind of think that's a given right now, right? I know definitely Sonics want to be, but I think SDK are the ones to kind of take that title. But also, just to follow on that, I don't think we'll ever have a team achieve what Tempo Storm achieved in NA.
Yeah, that was
in NA.
An absolute miracle
in
run.
NA. I'm gonna in NA.
Yes. Oh yeah. When everyone talks about Tempo Storm, it's always with the asterisk of, you know, regional competition, because their international showing. What was their best, actually?
Their best was WSOE when they won with that was back with the BenQ5 roster, but
that was different. Yeah, the 2020. I mean, I guess there was a roster change during.
It was the BenQ5 roster, but Sharpshot subbed in for WSOE, and
Sharpshot won WSOE as a solo.
Yes.
not exactly.
Yikes.
That's it's a joke. It's a joke. But during the international competitions during the NPL era during 2019, do you remember what their highest was? Because it was never really higher than like 10th. Right?
I can't remember it. No, I want to say maybe Grand Slam was their best place in 2019. But don't quite. I'm sure somebody in Twitch chat is about to instantly correct us having this conversation, by the way. These analysts don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, I don't have this stuff memorized. So
look, it wasn't
below 5th place, so I don't know.
It wasn't memorable, okay? There you go.
That's all you need to know. Anyway, enough talking about the past, enough being nostalgic and musing about previous times, because I think North American PUBG is arguably in an even better position this year. Of course, that can never be tested on an international level, but that means that I can say that without being proven wrong. So
yeah, with no reprise whatsoever.
0 reprise. Okay, into the game. Enough about this, though. We're getting some rotations around. It's been a pretty quiet game in the early game so far. We did only lose 1 player. We're seeing a lot of rotations and towards center of the map.
Wow, how very vague.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of contests in here, though, it seems.
Yeah, There's not an awful lot else going on other than I mean we missed it, but Penta actually getting a kill with a pistol in the early game. I know it was bad casters. We missed it, but that's the only death we've seen so far, and that was obviously dodged down by the Prior compound just away from Snake. Zenith coming up to try and take themselves kind of a weird spot for Circle 1.
Yeah.
Maybe just do a little bit of scouting, but Kickstart didn't fancy stopping there. Roth maybe just doing a little bit of oversight over Rodsock. Meanwhile, we've got Jewel pulling up on the backside of Volcano. There is a crate drop in here, and Keenan is inside the flat top. So he's got to be careful.
Yeah, I too was also just a little distracted by that interesting Zenith rotation directly through Carnage. Look, they're taking this compound. They didn't see anything. They didn't hear anything. And it's just a solo on Keenan. Is he bailing? Might be a little too late for that.
I think they know he's here. They're pushing this as if to clear it. Lamp pulls the flash out, but they just go for the full W key. Danny G going to find it with the M249 from outside. And Keenan will fall. We did see Penta fall elsewhere in the kill feed. I'm not sure if he got flushed out. Looking at the player count, I think he did. So that will be Duel down to 2.
Veritas down to 2.
Sorry, yes, Veritas. I was looking at Duel, and then I was like, wait, his player icon's still there, but
yeah. No, Veritas down to 2, and yeah, that's not the best for them because they've started to sort of swing things together, and they're able to get up towards 7th place. Okay, Victor, run away from that vehicle. Don't want to get run over there. And I think where do they start? Veritas started the day in 12th, so they've actually had a really good day. They got that win, of course, on game number 2 with a good kill count. But unfortunately, the final game is not going to be nearly as strong, and I think their hope right now is just to hold on to the top 8 and then try and push even further as we head into the second half of the Grand Finals. Dodge here taking compound for themselves. At the bottom still. They've been at the bottom since the very, very beginning, and I don't know what this team really needs to sort of get it rolling in a proper way, but might be too little too late at this point.
It's crazy to be sat here and saying they've literally dropped off a cliff since Monty stepped off this roster, but they have. Yeah.
In my notes, actually, strangely enough, I like this. I think it's clever of me, so I'm going to announce it to the world. I wrote Tai Chi PUBG for Dodge because watching how they play, they basically just try and go with the flow, like move like water. And that's not Tai Chi; it's a Bruce Lee reference to like a Bruce Lee quote, I think. But nonetheless, like they just don't want to really take any sort of fights. Yeah, which I don't think is necessarily a bad option in the early game, but it just sort of sticks with them, and they never really seem to. You always got to be able to turn it on, and I like start putting pressure on other teams, putting pressure onto the circle instead of just, I guess this is gonna sound harsh, but sort of falling over and dying.
Yeah, I could have said it better myself. Very eloquently put. Is that exactly how you had it written down?
No. It's just the Tai Chi PUBG that I wrote down. My notes are very complicated. They wouldn't be understood by the mortal man. They are that complicated.
Fair.
That's just because my handwriting is awful.
Radiant's wrapping all the way up outside Yasnaya is an interesting move, but I guess they're moving cautiously. They're not. I say this, they're in 10th place. I honestly thought they were a bit lower down than that, but looking at it, really, that middle kind of 7th and below, everything's still up for grabs, considering we got 3 match days left. But I mean, what, STK started the day with 60 odd points, right?
47 points.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I thought it was a little bit higher than that. But so they've made up. Place. Yeah, they've made up huge. Oh, I thought that tagged. As soon as it zoomed out there and the player icon disappeared, I thought he actually tagged.
Yeah.
It would have been a banger from Rip.
Unfortunately, he's not able to find much there, but where's the next circle going to go? Unsurprisingly, 3-3 still in the blue, but everyone else is inside, and phase 2 is going to shift basically center, just a touch towards the west side. Looking at Comet's dead center, Zenith dead center, ATC dead center. And ATC being dead center is a scary one because, again, they love to form up those points from a central position. They have all 4 up this time around. So maybe they can do something out of it. But Fable, they have to push a little more towards the north, perhaps.
And here's the two members of Veritas still up, and it is the rest of Duel actually. We did take down Keenan earlier. Sharpshot actually going to land a headshot on the way in onto Wooly. And Wooly just now discovering that the buggy doesn't fit in the front door school, but the Dacia does.
So close though. Just squeeze it in. Just deflate the tires a little bit. It should work, surely.
The buggy's wider than the Dacia. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but it looks so close. Over here on Georgetown Mountain, though, it's going to be Lobes, actually seemingly by himself. He has some teammates on the low ground, but it's going to be holding the high ground position, high ground flank onto Illusion. But Illusion don't seem to really want any of this. So still trying to find a direction, getting to the circle themselves. And the mountain is not going to be that pathway. Not taking the shots. Could at least get a little bit of damage. There it goes. A couple shots come out. A couple of tags also come out. Down to half HP, but no more to follow up. That could be a weakened target for another player to sort of take advantage of. But Lobes instead, he's going to push right back down and perhaps group up with the rest of Hardships because no one else should be coming in from that direction.
Yeah, and Oath actually backfilling towards Hacker here. And obviously, we know they've come from way out over by Mill to Power. And Dodge have just kind of made ways up the hill. 303 finally making it out of the blue. And they got a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, just look at their health. They still haven't healed back up to full. And Landoon's meds, I mean, at least a couple of bandages. Or, well, no, bandages. Painkillers and such. Going to have to bring them back up to 100 HP. And the real question is, how much time do they really have to scout ahead of themselves? Able to find a hill, perhaps look a little bit more towards the north. Sorry about that. My breath literally just got caught in my throat.
Smooth.
I tried to roll with it, but I couldn't. And, well, alas, we'll see where we stand right now. Not a lot of action outside of those first couple of kills. I think because it was a central phase 2, no one really had to move too far. At least they weren't forced to.
No, and a couple of teams just coexisting, I guess. Obviously, this is the prime example here. Comets and Zenith kind of opposite each other between Mini Pachinki and Package. Veritas over in the apartments, obviously Duel next to them. We can see Liberate on the mini-map, but this next circle going to tell us a bit more about where we're going to end up. We should expect a couple... Ooh, Jazz actually lining up the shot onto the driver's seat there, but unable to connect. That would have been a cheeky knock.
Yeah. I mean, and totally not his fault at all because he didn't park the vehicle there, but what a fortunate angle if he was able to find it. Where's phase 3 going to go, however? Is the center once more? It's fairly center, but it's a very Pachinki heavy circle. We could see a city ending. Are we going to see that many teams really go towards Pachinki? I mean, there are a number of areas to play around the city, but at some point, I think a couple of teams are going to have to call the force into the town. Everyone's favorite hot drop area, Pachinki.
Yeah, it's, I mean, Circle 3 is always a difficult one to kind of weigh up whether or not you should bank on it going to Pachinki. You can see actually on the minimap, Fabled coming down to crash onto the flat top there. And obviously Sonic's looking to regroup, so hopefully don't get caught off guard here.
Woo! Bit of a push in there, but Fabled, of course, are eliminated by Sonics. And I think a little bit of help from SDK and the kill feed as well. But yeah, Sonics still 4 up, still 3 kills. They're still holding on to their city. They're not letting anyone come in at all. Holding it down. SDK up on the west side. Interesting position. I don't think I would have guessed SDK to be here in Church of all places, considering they drop south of Georgia Pole. But alas, here they are trying to make a stand. And a 2-2 split of their own could control a lot of area if they can land their shots. Always the expectation there. Oath pulling in from the southeast side. Still not yet in the next circle on Potato Hill. Trying to scout forward themselves. Balefrost pushes forward with the bike. Gets some information for the rest of the team to follow up on. Just hanging out for now. It's going to be a pretty easy push for them, I think. There aren't a lot of teams on that southeast corner of the circle right now. Honey Badger goes down to Uncivil in the kill feed, and Los pushing forward. I don't know if this is a blind send or not, but he's going into the danger zone because there are a number of members of Hardships here, and he wants to take this fight. Immediately opens up onto one on J-Sync. He's pushing forward, taking advantage of the lull in timing, knowing J-Sync has to hide behind cover and get a revive, or rather a med off. That is, if he doesn't retreat. And the rest of Radiance are now rolling up McCoy up to give assistance. And J-Sync, he's prone down. He's not in a vehicle at all. He's trying to peek back out to hold the angle. But McCoy and Los with a good rotation. But J-Sync's getting fully pushed here. There's not much that he can do by himself. Doesn't even get one knock before immediately taken out. McCoy's going to secure that. But the Blues coming in, and Radiance don't have a lot of time. Able to get that kill before the Blue, of course, overlaps them. But now they have to push forward. Don't really have a lot of time to deal with things. And Hardships could put pressure onto them. But 303 with the high ground overlooking onto Hardships. Well, it's a big domino effect that we have in Battle Royales, that we have in PUBG. 1-to-1 trade. D-Rich is going to secure that onto Chubber, but immediately back onto Maluk, but Honey Badger gets the flick shot, 2 HP, able to get the first aid off. We're back up to 75, and the circle is going to be towards the west. This gives 303 at least a little bit of pressure relieved from them. But they still have to deal with the remainder of Hardships, with the remainder of Radiance. Oath, alternatively, because of the shift away from them, forced to just send it across the field into the city. Frost finds his way in. Doesn't take a lot of damage for Oath. At least the first two members. Where the rest of the teammates still driving in. Pat, Caps, and Snakers in the final vehicle.
And Carnage just trying to settle. Ooh, that nade might actually be good. Doesn't do enough. Oh, actually, Ripper and Magi brought super low off of that, but trying to get onto the backside of Mini Pachinki here. Zenith not really. I mean, they're not interested with messing with it other than that initial nade going out, but the mad dash for Pachinki now comes in. Liberator going to make their way into the southeast side. You can see they're going to have a little bit of space to make moves along the road. You can always see Guabi sending it down to the south side of the road. Actually, a couple of shots getting sent in from barn direction, so they should be able to settle here for the time being.
For the time being, I like how they're taking a little bit of area of Pachinki by force, but how much longer can they stay there and how much further can they push is the real question. 303, they've pushed down onto Radiance's building. A knock against D-Rich should be revived because Radiance aren't really pushing, or at least Gaxi isn't, because Gaxi is here by himself. The rest of Radiance, you can see up on the north, trying to give some assistance from range, but it's going to be a full-on push from lane 2. They're not even going for the revive at all. Now Voxic is taken out. It's just Honey. Los HD from distance, assisting Gaxi, and he's going to secure all of those points, all of those kills. Just Honey trying to hold the line. Gets a little bit of damage onto Gaxi, but he's just going to fall back from this. Probably get into his vehicle. Maybe wait for D-Rich to bleed out.
ATC are back in the spot they were earlier in Game 2. Literally exactly the same spot.
They have two spots they play.
Maybe they can make something work from it this time around.
I mean, they have a little bit of a spread, right? It's not all in one spot.
But this comes back to the same thing we were talking about, right? It's spots like this they managed to make something work from.
Yeah. We'll see what they can do this time around. There aren't as many teams that have been forced to drive into their position that have been relatively simple kills to pick up. I don't think there's going to be exactly the replication of that 11 kill 8th place from the previous game by Honey Badger. It's going to be another replication of 303's woes, as I don't think he's going to get a kill, and if he does, very low chance of getting a secure onto that, because Gaxi's pushing forward. Los a little bit far behind. Could give an opportunity, but the health not in his favor, and the follow-up grenade if the shots weren't going to do it. And 303 are out in 13th place.
And now, I mean, look at the mini-map. It's going to be another bloodbath on the edge of Pachinki. I mean, this one should pull into the city. But now that I've said that, it's going to do the complete opposite. Okay, no. So it actually gives everyone space to play. I mean, within this circle from where they're positioned currently. But Sonics, SDK, Dodge, Oath, Liberate, and actually the remnants of Veritas still in here, and we're going to see the kill feed just be a constant scrolling.
Oh, yeah, it's going to
of
be
everyone dying over the next few minutes. Yeah, it will.
On the southeast side, at least. This north, I don't think, is going to have a lot of action. ATC and Illusion both taking up a lot of ground because there's so much space to play with here that isn't terribly contested because of how weak it is compared to like full hard cover of compounds. But I think both those teams are going to shrink up their positioning a little bit, get into the circle, maybe find a dip if they can. But over here is Zenith, hard eastern edge with Duel right in front of them, and later with the peek over onto the plateau, doesn't find the shots. Maybe the Mini can find it better. A couple of them, but still no knock.
Yeah, unfortunately, no utility to follow up on that, but he has got a couple of teammates to follow up on it. Cherry going to have to opt for proning inside the smoke. Kickstart looking hungry. He's going to sweep the edge of this ridge now, and will he be able to find Cherry as this smoke dissipates? Obviously, just a one-man army right now. The 2C. He's going to try and get away, but Kickstart is there.
No!
He doesn't actually find it. Cherry makes it away with about 5 HP.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. It was close, but it was an ambitious play either way, but also ambitious. ATC pushing into Illusion. A knock on to Freeme, but 2 full kills against them. I think it's just Marcelic left, and he's been a big player on the side of ATC, but what can he do as a solo? Driving forward in the buggy, trying to find an angle with the ridge. At least he's in the circle for now, so he can sort of play it safe, play it slow.
Big nade.
But I don't think ATC is going to do that. The grenade comes out, doesn't find the knock.
Oh, I thought that one was just going to go far enough. It would have been perfect timing on Freeme, please, trying to stick that first aid kit, but the response, grenade coming back out now. Marcelek, yep,
there it is.
I was going to say, it's just a matter of time until they fish him out. Adam will find it, and any trolls in chat will fall in 10th.
Still, though, a good game for them. But now what can Illusion do from that position? Back onto Pachinki. So many teams just been hanging out. We've seen some damage back and forth. Maybe a knock or two in the kill feed. But it's going to be on phase 6 in 20 seconds. That's really going to see where the cards are all laid out on. And I think more than anyone else, you got to give it to SDK with the church position, the high ground position, overlooking Pachinki. They're in a prime spot to pick up a bunch of points, a bunch of kills.
Yeah, actually, they've got great sight lines down. Radiant's got 7 kills on the board already. And actually, Gaxie's already spotted out one of the members of Illusion. But right now, I mean, what they've got, they should hold on to. I think you're absolutely right. The situation on the edge of Pachinki is going to be pretty crazy. Once this circle starts moving, unless anybody's found something to move to, which there isn't an awful lot considering where these teams are positioned, it's going to be difficult.
Actually, a knock against STK. But fortunately, all the teams at Pachinki are still going to have to deal with each other before they go to the church. I feel like it does give STK a little bit of time to stabilize, and Tiggle Tank takes a lot of damage as well. As we see multiple members of Liberate attempt to cross the road to get inside, but it's not just Sonics, it's not just Oath, it's also Dodge there as well as Sharp Shot, and 2 knocks against Liberate. Oath, they're pushing in. It's going to be a Zerg rush coming out. 2 full kills secured as well, and that's a 3rd found by Snakers. Guab goes down. It is just Ice Tech remaining for Liberate. Utility comes out.
Oath actually making a bit of a push here ahead of the circle. Blue not forcing them just yet, but it is slowly shifting. They're going to get a smoke line down to try and pressure towards Corsac. He's only in a shack, though. And there is one member of Liberate, as you said, behind this. I doubt he's got eyes on it because he's biding his time. He's actually tanking Blue. He's going to get that first aid kit off. But Oath have actually made it to the backside of the church. This is pretty big for them.
Ooh, with a couple of shots from Purdy, hanging out on the flank just to make sure that if something like this couldn't happen. And now comes Isaac as well. At least gets a little bit of damage, gets a knock and a secure onto Relo. Still 3 up for Oath. Sharp Shot. Are they aware of anyone playing in that tower? I don't know if Oath know how dangerous their position currently is. We know that they can fight themselves out of bad spots, but instead they just push up into church. They just take it for free. SCK weren't playing the compound at all. They were just playing the hills surrounding it. This could give Oath a little bit of an opportunity. That is, if Sonics and Dodge don't come rolling up in the same path that they did.
Yeah, actually, SDK not really getting a lot of value off this positioning initially, and most people from Pachinkia are going to die out. I mean, I say that. There was a lot of people in there, but 3 teams kind of surviving to the edge. Obviously, Oath making it up there is huge. Sonics keeping 4 alive. Down at this satellite house. Crop actually going to find Belfast at the top of the hill, and this is giving a lot of audio information over to Sonics now. Here comes the utility over to the backside. Shrimsy going to open up with the barrel. Doesn't find anything initially, and now SDK, they open up. Luke will knock Shrimsy.
A lot of damage against Dodge. Mime is trying to secure these kills, secure these points. There's just one player remaining. Gets the first aid kit off and unprones, and actually even gets a knock against Mime.
Oh!
Crop still alive after all of this, but for how much longer? Because more nades are coming in from H-Win as well as Oath, peeking over the ridge now that they have stabilized their own position. H-Win going for the revive, wants to have at least one teammate in these things. Oh, a nade just barely doesn't knock them. And Molotov also comes out.
Oh, this is terrible for H-Win. He's on fire now. Here comes the push from Snakers.
Snakers?
Actually, yeah, Snakers lost that one.
How did Snakers get to that position?
Well, how did Snakers get down there, and how did he lose the 1v1 to H-Win when he was on fire and couldn't ADS? I don't know.
But neither team wins. Yeah, it doesn't matter because both teams are actually dead because SDK is still here. What remains of them? Uncivil and Luke playing this position. Purdy wasn't able to get back to them, but they're still holding strong as 2. Make it into the top 4. We've seen all the teams, at least a lot of them, get deleted in just past couple of minutes. And in the meantime, watching this Pachinki fight, Radiance have been pushing further and further in, taking out Illusion, taking over the space that HEC had prior, and now they want Zenith's location. True conquerors that they are. 9 kills already, make that 10.
Yeah, this is much better from Radiance to close out the day in match 4 here, and arguably in a pretty strong position. You can see a very good defensive line throughout the circle on the minimap. Zenith kind of all bunched together, so utility, if Radiance have any and can get close enough to utilize it, is going to be deadly for them, but throwing uphill is going to be a big ask for them. Roth actually going to get picked off by Gaxi, so that could be the opening for them to push up on this.
More and more damage, more and more pressure coming out from Radiance. Gaxi trying to find the shots, can't find them on a kickstart. And Leda is also still up. We know how good of shots Zenith members are, but the Molly's going to come out. Does that knock? Does that hit Leda? I think it lands on the wrong side of the rock, just barely. More utility comes out. More pressure comes forward from both squads, actually. More Molotovs don't find their mark. How long will these smokes from Zenith last? Another spray into the smoke still doesn't fully find the knock.
Yeah, now things slowing down a little bit. Obviously after Gaxi found that initial knock, and later now going to get a little bit of a tag off the side of that Molotov. Kickstart still trying to pressure away, but Radiance is slowly moving closer and closer, and as soon as these smokes dissipate, Zenith are going to be screwed, and there you go. Kickstart will fall again to the barrel of Gaxi. So it's just later now. All he's got is a buggy and a rock, and he's going to get found underneath. Waldo will land the final blow. Just 2 teams alive now. 4v2 situation for Radiance. STK at the hilltop. They have the high ground, but Radiance have the position on the circle.
Oh, yeah. I think Radiance, this would have to be a big throw or a big clutch by STK, I think, if it would go their direction. Not only is it 4 versus 2, they have such a big wide flank, and they have the ability to play trades. That's something that STK absolutely do not have in their favor. Uncivil, you can see with the bolt action brought out, hoping that someone peeks him a little aggressively, you can find an opening knock. But that might be a little bit tall of a task. Fortunately for them, they don't have to move just yet, though we all know where center is going to be. Basically, right between Los and Gaxi. Shot comes out, takes a lot more in return than he gave. Forced to bandage. This is good play by Radiance. They're playing it just as slow as they need to. They are not giving SDK any opportunities, but also not giving them any room at all. McCoy pushes up. He's got the close range weapon of the Groza, and he's not being spotted because of the distraction. Right when I say they're playing it slow, McCoy and Gaxi actually push up, and they're going to play this as 2 duos. 2 in the back, 2 in the front.
Yeah, actually, the utility going to go uphill towards SDK. Nothing going to land initially. I mean, Uncivil and Luke can still do damage from this position. You can see Lost sitting back with that MK playing anchor. But Radiants really want to get these last 2 kills to close out the win. And I mean, it would be a fantastic end to the day if SDK could get some kind of consolation prize here, or dare I say, even come and clutch this up. But it's looking bleak for them.
Yeah, especially because of that pressure. And look at the wrap coming out from Gaxi and Waldo. They know exactly where SDK are. They're inside the smoke. They're inside a tiny itty-bitty corridor. That's already 1. That's 2. Not even given an opportunity. And we said Radiance, this was their time to come up with a big game.